We've already pretty much have this put together. Let me, this actually would be a hearing session item, but I can see where this is going to go, and you're going to get heard somewhere tonight. So I am going to do this, since we're not in the hearing session, we've got 4 of them. I'm going to cut down the time to about 90 seconds instead of 3 minutes, but I will give the people an opportunity to be heard, kind of compromise this to move this along. Steve Lee.
Got my really fast. Thank you, distinguished board. I'm actually going to be different from my fellow Bavarians. I think you should put Greg as vice president. You owe it to him. He got you 30%. He went to Valverde. The town voted 100% against the expansion. He called each member at home and said, we got to vote this in, because if we don't, other communities that will get the money, other ones that are affected. So you should vote him in. He did your work. When we did the recall, Flo said, he fought tooth and nail. What we saw every single time we called was Greg would bring something up, Flo would yell at him, he'd sheepishly sneak in his chair. So it was all acting. Someone on this board said, the noise from the pumps would affect my game in Stevenson Ranch. That is when they were thinking of pumping right into the ground. Imagine the chest pain from asthma and how that would affect your game. Imagine your kid in a hospital gasping for air and how that would affect your game. I'm glad it doesn't affect your golf game. That would be a real tragedy. Not one person in Valverde can be represented because of the 30% bill. Because of that, it followed with the contract. So when we're sick, none of us can say anything. We have nowhere to go. You're our representatives. We can't come here because you can't speak up. Don't believe me? Go to the West Side Ranch, the reporter there. And he said, it was on that night where you said, well, if we send this letter, it'll be against the landfill. We can't do that. It's in our contract. In conclusion, I once again reiterate that you did the right thing by voting Greg Camara as your president. Not only do you owe him, but Valverde needs to be taught a lesson. Hasley Hills was taught many years ago. Keep quiet, shut your mouth, and never, ever speak up for yourself. Just between us, I don't think they got the message. When you overcharge them for a recall, I mean $7,500 to $15,000 for something that cost you $1,000, you need to send a stronger message. Make him president. Thank you.
Susan Evans.
Only in regards to making him vice president. You people realize we did a recall because we did not vote Greg in as anything up here. But you guys felt the need to go behind our backs, make him vice president, and I like how the agenda hasn't been put up, at least by 4 o'clock it wasn't there. And we requested that you contact me, since I was a signer on the original letter. Nobody ever did. And you said it would cost $7,500 to $15,000 for this recall, when your own whole voting process costs less than that for the library guy. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but I remember your face.
Matt.
Matt, thank you. When Matt does it, it's not near that much. And we're talking one little division of this whole board. One little division could not cost $7,500. And if you went to an attorney to get all this information, who's the client? Who is the client in this situation? Is it proper and ethical conduct to make the residents pay for an attorney you're pushing on us?
We do have the election report being on the agenda, and I'm happy to answer all your questions when we get to that.
Okay, I'll be back up to that time.
Okay, I just want to let you know.
Okay, I'll be back up to that time.
Margaret Whipple.
It seems to me that the focus of nearly all these meetings is basically to put down Greg Kimura. And I don't see as much focus on the interest of the health of people in the community. I don't really hear voices saying that part of that mediation money, at least 25%, should go toward a special fund so that people who do end up with asthma can get some assistance. And perhaps from there, then the rest of the community could also do some fundraisers for those people. There's a Circle of Hope Foundation in Santa Clarita that does that for people with cancer. They give the people who qualify $10,000, and that helps with various fees. So I really think that instead of just trying to pick on one person, I think that we should have a higher goal and really work towards the community and the betterment of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Erica Larson.
Thanks, guys. I'd actually like to just forget the name Greg Kamara and just look at the situation, because the community presented a large amount of signatures to ask for his recall, and you guys are voting him as a vice president. Now, as that looks in any town council, that doesn't seem right at all. 221 people signed a paper asking for a change of representation, and now that person is being voted in as the vice president. But as I'm speaking about numbers, I wanted to just point out the numbers that it took to get you into office from the 2014 election. For Region 1, there was a total of 102 votes. Jessica won with 64. In Region 3, there was 114 people that voted. Lloyd won with 75 votes. Region 5, a total of 42 votes. Don won with 30. None of your regions, the people who voted you in, don't equal half of the amount of people that are asking you to recall Greg Kamara. And I understand that the recall process is a lot of work. You're asking a lot for you to do on top of the many things that you already do. So I would recommend that you skip the recall process and ask him to resign. Because that many people didn't even vote you guys into office. So just save everybody the cause. You have plenty of numbers here. Even if you want to say that the amount of registered voters is 159 people. There is a total of 102 votes for Region 1, 114 for Region 3, and 42 for Region 5. Bonnie and Jim, you guys got voted in automatically because you were unopposed. But just think of the numbers here. And think of the optics of how this looks and how the people, if you can imagine 221 people in this room that you're ignoring. And frankly, that's not what you're here to do. You're here to listen to the community and do what we're asking. And I think that's a lot of numbers to ignore. Thank you.
You're welcome. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Vote is not 8 to 2?
No, well, there's 9, there's 3 to 6.
6, okay, so 7 to 2.
No, there, are Austin's here? Is Kelly here?
Kelly's not here. 7 to 2. Okay, we now have our new officers, and therefore, Sandia, you will be taking over as the president, and you can now take over the meeting.
Well, Happy New Year. Got that. Okay, so first we'll discuss the hearing session. Can you read that, Phil?
Hearing session. This is the time set aside for individuals wishing to address the town council on matters not listed on the agenda. State law prevents the council from acting on any matter not listed on the agenda or from discussing any such matter in any detail. Speakers who must have submitted their request to speak form prior to the start of the meeting should limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker, 20 minutes per topic, and should only expect the council to take their comments under advisement for possible future discussion and/or action. If any individual wishes to speak on a matter that is on the agenda, they will be called upon when that item is brought up. Request to speak forms are located in the back of the room and can be quietly submitted to any council member.
Point of order, missed this between the two of us, our chairs, we need to
That is part of the motion. Yes.
Do we have a slate?
We do have a slate. Want me to do it or you want to do it?
Go ahead and do it, you have it there.
Slate for our committee chairs. For public safety will remain myself, John Kunak. For, I'm missing the second page of the thing, but Parks and Rec will become me, John Kunak. The Castaic ad hoc chair will be Mr. Lawrence. And our land use chair will be Mr. Idleman. And that's the slate presented.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, why am I being removed off of Parks and Rec?
Is that more punishment because of us?
No, just hold on. You sent me an email telling me that you did not want to be.
No, I said I didn't want
So when we
anything
were at the
added.
agenda
I didn't
meeting.
want anything added. I didn't want any, yeah, I didn't want anything added. I didn't want to do anything extra other than what I was already doing.
Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and pull up your email.
No, I was just afraid that someone would try to put me in as treasurer or something that I wasn't comfortable doing.
Well, I know that you weren't feeling well and you didn't come to the meeting, and I'm sorry, but I took your email that you didn't want to be on board.
No.
In a committee.
No, I'm still perfectly fine with being on Parks and Rec.
John, do you have concern about that?
I did it for a lot of years, and we've got a lot of stuff coming up that I was doing. Aye. Opposed? Passes 9-0. Matter of fact, he's in there.
Yeah, we'll get that. We'll get the names. Okay, so, Vance Crest Fleet, I have 2 here, you have 4 there.
They're done, those 4 done.
4 there, 6, okay. Estimated guess.
I also wanted to be included in the after portion.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
She wanted to talk on the recall.
So we're gonna move her
Later on
back
the
over.
agenda.
Okay, can you do a request to speak?
I did.
It's in there.
I don't
She
have
has
it.
Okay,
It's right here.
I don't have it.
Well,
It's right hand it over.
Want to hand it back to her?
So is that 7 then?
No, she just requested to speak on 2 items.
Right.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so we're going to start with our special reports. Rosalind with the
Yeah.
LA County Supervisor's Office. Okay, so we're on to section 5, discussion, new business. So we didn't move anything else there, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is, I know is a request to speak regarding this, but I am going to go ahead and let our resident chair, Matt Gill, give the report for the election committee, and then we will go ahead and let you speak, okay?
Good evening, everyone.
And
Yeah.
that,
Hello.
appreciate it. I know, we haven't seen you in a while.
So the election committee consisting of Cynthia Ennis, Dawn Falconer, Jessica Russell Chambers, and myself met several times in November and December to determine the possibility of a recall election. I received a list of registered voters from the Val Verde area from the Los Angeles County Registrar Recorder's Office dated December 8, 2015. This list showed a total of 1,181 registered voters. Per the council bylaws, a recall petition requires 20% of registered voters for the recall process to be triggered. With 1,181 registered votes, 237 valid signatures of registered voters were required. The committee practiced due diligence and checked each signature on the petitions for voter registration status. After going through each signature one by one, the committee verified 158 signatures, or 13% of registered voters. Because this number did not reach the 20% threshold, the committee determined that no recall election is required. I thank the members of the committee and the town council for allowing me to participate in this process.
Thank you for being on the committee. Appreciate that. Okay,
That 1,180 is more than Val Verde has. They have 771, we call it ourselves. She had to separate it, I have to separate it to just Val Verde.
we counted on the list. We have the actual list.
You
that
made
we
the phone call and
obtained
call
from
her
them.
too, so I'm telling you, we made 2 phone calls.
Yeah,
And they
registrar.
both came up with the same number. Val
What number do
Verde
you
only has 771 registered voters.
And if that's
You're
the
including
number
another
from the
section.
registrar's office, then
The less we got,
100
the phone
whatever we got.
one list still has it.
Because that's gotta be wrong, because we only have 2,200 people that live in Valverde.
Exactly.
That's children.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we called 2 different offices, because Mike Knight is the one who gave us the number of calls, and
Okay,
they said
Paid for the
771.
list, we obtained the
Yeah, I
list, we
paid for the list.
Steve
counted.
Knight? Steve Knight?
I think Steve, and he gave us numbers to call. That's how Tanya got it. I went a different route, and I went got a different agency, gave us the same number. They first started with that, and I said, that's Val Verde. Oh, Val Verde only. Then they had to go to just our precinct where we vote. You have 771 registered voters.
I don't think that's correct, because we have the list and we counted.
Okay, if we can prove that it is 778, 771, sorry, and then the amount of signatures we got is more than 20%, that means the recall goes forward, correct?
If you can prove it, yeah. I
If you
assume
can
so.
prove it, you
Registered
would have to pay for the registered list.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll bring it back at the next month's meeting.
because you mean every single Latino is registered too at that point.
And not only that, but there's nothing in the bylaws that says you can't restart this process all over again. There's nothing in the bylaws that says you can't. So if something happened again, you guys are more than
But the reality, I
welcome.
think we do an address check, you can see some of those addresses are not Val Verde, they're in another region.
They might be.
Maybe.
I
And
have
that's,
the list right here from
Okay.
the county, we actually looked at a map specifically to make sure that the streets that we got were in Val Verde.
okay, because then the 2 offices that we called are both wrong.
This is from the Los Angeles Register Recorder Street Index forecasting, and they had we had the whole pile, and we had to go street by street and figure out if the street was in Val Verde.
There are no pages on there that have no registered voters on it. You guys, that's on almost every page there. It's not like there are pages of stuff.
Can we get a copy of
These are
that?
all no, I'm sorry, we can't provide it to you.
Okay.
That would be a bunch of personal information.
1,181.
I mean, you can purchase it from them, it is public information, but we can't pass it along.
Oh, okay.
But like I said, you guys can start the process all over again if you want.
Not a problem.
I think Africa was going to call, or one of them call it documentation that that's what they have is 771, because somewhere along the wrong, I don't know how that office can be wrong, and in this office, this is different.
But you have
We didn't call the office to confirm, we have the actual list.
We
Okay,
counted
we
the
don't have
list
that.
physically.
That we don't have.
You didn't get a copy of the registered
And
voters
when
list?
you
Not
say
at all.
office, you
I wouldn't-
called the registrar's office.
We called, yes. Yes, we called.
1,181.
Exactly them, and it took a long process.
20% would have been.
So are our signatures any good anymore?
They counted the valid signatures, yes.
So our signatures are still good, we just gotta get more to get.
No, it would be too late for you would have to restart the process
You
all
would have to
over again.
restart the process.
So we have to
Are you
get all
gonna
those
know whose
people-
signature you have or not?
I'd say just let them run, sit out his 11 months, and then someone run against them. These things.
Thank you for doing your job, I appreciate it. You sat here so long.
When that's
always
been a good job. That's always been a good
Thank you, Matt. My question is not for him.
If they can dispute it, they can dispute that though. That's,
We have some requests
it's
to
not a
speak,
new
why don't we go ahead
recall,
and
right?
Do that.
Like I said, if you guys can prove that it's you guys have the correct number, it'd be fine.
No, I'm gonna do it.
So we didn't do it based off of a phone call, we did it based off of the list we counted.
Okay. So those people like us.
We don't know what the.
They might have mistaken, they
I
might
don't
have
know
been
who we're looking
mistaken.
at.
You know, I don't know really
No,
what.
you guys can request the same list, I believe, so.
Let's go with the request to speak.
Susie, you've had a request to speak, would you like to come up and speak?
Me,
You have
sure.
3 minutes.
Yeah. No problem. Whether the list is redone, recounted, whatever the deal is, we'll get it done. Okay, this was prior to hearing from Mr. Gill. I want you to you to recheck your votes approving Greg as VP, because I heard 3 distinct voices say no.
Even at that, the vote still would have stood.
I know, but I heard
She
3
wrote
different
it down
voices.
correctly. I read
Okay.
it.
And to somebody else, the money that is acquired from the dump to the CBFC cannot be used for health of anything, per the contract in 1997. So whoever it was,
Who said that?
somebody made mention of using the money for cancer, I heard thrown out there.
It was Margaret said something about.
She said to start a foundation.
She was talking
Sure.
about
The money
whether
from
or
the-
not, she was not talking about that one, she was talking about the other mitigation fund.
If they,
The Cascade mitigation fund is different. I don't know what their wording is, I haven't read through it. John Usella? Do you remember if there's a
I'm not
health clause
sure
in
that
there?
that's a question right now, it's just know that she was talking.
there a health
Yeah, I
clause
know
in
you're
that
making a
one?
point, so.
I don't
She was
remember.
talking about a
15
different
months
fund,
ago.
and it's okay.
okay, I thought it was.
I get your point.
CBFC.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a lot of this is kind of moot because of what he said. But I want you to understand something, that we obtained signatures. And you didn't advise the representative not contradict state laws. And the lawyer, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Kita, but there is case law that says a lawyer may not be paid from a source other than the client. Now, who would be the client at this rate? You guys or Valverde?
No, I think the bylaws clearly state that the recall is to be paid for by the people that are petitioning.
Okay,
Yes.
so,
You would then be,
So the third
The
party
client.
that's obtained will be paid means that either way, a third party would have to be hired in order to do the election. That is what you would be paying for. This is not a standard membership election.
I
You are not
understand that.
voting for an election.
but the state
have to-
laws overruled your bylaws, and from what I found,
Which is exactly why we would have to hire a third party.
and according
And
to
in
the
all of my
law,
research, yes.
according to this law, this, what is it called? It is, there's a word for it. Case law,
Case law.
case law. We pick our own attorney if we have to pay for it.
But according to our bylaws,
The
the fees
state
need to
law
be paid
overrules
until,
your
before
bylaws.
the election can go through. Either way,
see,
in order
that,
to do
This
the
is case
election,
law. Case law says,
no. I understand.
Why
what
don't you get all this in an email form and send it to Sandita?
can I just
No,
add
I
something, because I
understand
work in the
what she's
legal
saying,
field? And then maybe Mr. Kunak can
No,
address this?
actually, let me address this, please. Our bylaws state that the election committee is to provide a fee. We had to call around in order to find out what third parties do campaigns. Well, guess what? It happens to be lawyers' offices that do it, okay? They do it for the city, they do it for town councils. So that's where the fee comes from, okay? It's not about gouging, it's just the reality of, unfortunately, lawyers cost a lot of money.
do you pay a lawyer to run your regular,
We don't have to because this is a different election. If you go to our bylaws, it says that the fee needs to be paid. We did not get to the point of discussing whether or not you get to choose which lawyer it is.
But your bylaw says it has to be a lawyer?
It doesn't say it has to be a lawyer.
No, it has to be per the state, which means you would need a third party.
that does not mean it has to be a lawyer as a third party.
Do you know the state law?
I just quoted part of it.
I know that there's a water board.
So you
and
would be
You quoted
completely
has to do with
comfortable
attorney-client relationships. This is something totally different. You're not hiring an attorney for a lawsuit or for an
To
accident or
run
for a
a
criminal
campaign,
matter.
to make sure that it is done to its due diligence. I don't think that anyone on this council should be responsible for that. For feeling like, oh, you didn't follow the state law. Nobody
You didn't even
wants,
follow our request.
yes, we did.
Nobody contacted me. I was the contact person.
The
Nobody
election
did.
committee reported. We met in December.
you weren't here to present it.
I do believe I was available by email. I missed 1 month.
I don't think that
No,
our
I
bylaws
presented.
tell us
Our
that
bylaws do
it
not
has to
say.
be.
What we did is
September, I
due
was here.
diligence. Wait, point of order, please. We did due diligence, okay? The election committee went above and beyond, knowing that that was required in this particular case. We're not trying to deceive anyone. We met 2 times in December. The second time, we finally did the counting because we received the registered list, okay? When we came up with our findings, guess what? We're gonna report them at the next meeting, which was this particular meeting.
And nobody told me. Unfortunately, the website was down.
It was posted at Ralph's and at the sports complex.
I don't always go to Ralph's, I don't always go to the sports
What
complex.
she's saying is she should have been emailed.
Yes, I was listed as the contact on the official letter. May have been out of town in October, but I was here in September. I read the letter, I was back in November, and I've been.
I agree, it would have been nice if someone emailed you.
Yes.
That is,
To let you know that we were gonna be giving a report at this particular meeting.
yeah, thank God somebody floated out there and let me know that what was going on. There was a lot of people here to say something to you guys about this, about the whole process. But you've got us at the end of the line.
Well, unfortunately, it's the way it was on the agenda. It was not done on purpose.
This agenda's been formatted this way, as always. We don't change the layout or the order when things are.
So that new projects things wasn't those values people?
That was under land use committee, and then.
That was under land
Land use
use,
committee,
and I presented an email when they requested it back in December. It was just one of those moments where it just got forgotten. Now, because it's informational, you can put that on there.
Okay.
Okay, we didn't vote on
Just
anything.
keep me in the loop when you, my name is at the bottom and ask for a response. Please let me know.
I never received an email for you, and I apologize
The letter that
personally
was
for not
handed out
sending
in
it to you.
September
But
had everything on it.
there, you know, yeah.
We apologize. We're sorry.
Probably there will be no recall at 7,500 or 15,000. There's no reason. No one's going to walk the streets to get a recall that's going to cost us 15,000 or 75,500.
I know someone actually being recalled in Kern County right now. I actually know 2 people being recalled in Kern County right now from the water board. And the committee that is recalling them is not being charged a dime for the recall. They're not even being charged for the
Yes,
election.
but Bonnie, if you look at our bylaws,
It
it's
says-
because of the way it's worded. I'm sorry.
No, I don't read it that way at all. I read that they should have to pay for the election fees and the regular election fees would be Matt
And that
Gill.
would
It's
be
not a
paying that
regular
bill like
election.
you guys
It says
did.
particularly there that it's a recall election.
And it says in the spirit of state laws. It doesn't say that we actually have to follow state law. It says in the spirit of state law.
Right, but do you actually think that if someone throws one in a recall, they're gonna say, oh, well, you know nothing about the spirit of state laws, so this election must not have been valid? I would
Honestly,
not
who would
want
fight that other than Craig and his family? Who would fight that? Nobody would.
You got a point there. Who's fighting this other than his family,
That is
his
not the
tenants,
point, Bonnie.
and
That's
him?
not the point of that. The point is that we followed those bylaws. We did our due
You followed your
diligence.
interpretation of that
Go
bylaw.
for it.
No, we obtained
No,
those.
you got it.
I know, that's absolutely true. That's, I'm talking about the money, I'm talking about the hiring of the third party and the money. Because this will come up again. Whether it's not Greg or whether it's somebody else.
All right, let's move on. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, Gina Gower spoke right here.
All right.
pointed us out, lady.
Yeah, but
No,
I didn't need your
I-
comment.
Can I'd like to make 2 points. One, it only made sense for us to go to an outside agency. And the people that do this are law firms that work for municipalities. That's what they do. The reason is, and there are people in the audience that have never been here before, it's not a mystery that we cannot do anything right when it comes to Val Verde. You've heard tonight complaints about agendas and the way we count and the number of everything we do. Now it's my turn to talk, Susie. You had your 3 minutes. Everything we do, you find fault with and you find wrong. So therefore, as president, as past president, and now as past, I would never in a million years run your recall campaign, because at the end, if it doesn't go the way you want, it's going to be my fault. So the only logical thing to do is to hire an impartial outside agency so that they can handle it, and our hands are clean at the end of the day because we can do no right. The other thing I'd like to point out is at the beginning of the evening, Erica keeps mentioning these 221 people. and all these other numbers. I've got some numbers for you in a minute. But I'd like to point out that yes, 5 people have left tonight, but it's the same 15 or 20 faces that, again, this is my turn. This is my turn. Okay, it's the same 15 or 20 families that are here every time, making all the noise. I can go to doors and get people to sign a petition because I'm a charming guy and I'm convincing. But it's the same group of people that are making all the noise about recalling Greg. Okay, so no, this is, it's the end of the discussion. I'm just saying, how many of the 221 people are here tonight? Raise your hand.
It doesn't matter.
Nine.
They signed.
Nine.
We gave you
They
signatures.
signed.
Listen, there-
I would like to
Okay,
speak.
point of order.
but I don't-
Lloyd, Flo, sorry.
Floyd.
I'm mixing up names.
Eric, just wheel.
Looking at Lloyd, looking at you. Anyways, all right, I think that this discussion has become an angry discussion, and I don't think that's good for anyone here. So, unless you have something nice to say, then I suggest we move on.
Well, I just want to know if I have to put another public speaker card to come and speak or not.
How long will you take?
Well, 3 minutes if that's what you want to give me.
Do you need 3 minutes? Then I suggest we do a correct request to speak.
Probably not. I won't need 3 minutes. No.
I trust you.
Okay, I know that this is a very tense issue, and I'm actually glad to hear you say that, Flo, because I feel like you've marginalized Valverde into that box. That no matter what we say, we're always going to argue. But here's the fact, you guys. We're recalling a representative that you just made the vice president. If you cannot understand that that's going to upset our community, then where are we? Like, that's a blatant slap in the face. So, yes, we're going to be angry about it. Now, I think that it's time to try and listen to what we are saying, okay? Like I said, I brought the numbers of how many votes it took to get you into the office. Does not even get close to the amount of signatures that we presented you to ask for Greg out of it. So just on that alone, if I was in a position where 221 of my neighbors asked me not to represent them, I would step down. Because that's a lot of people. That's more people than, Jessica, 64 people voted you in. Can you imagine if 200 people came to you and said, we don't want you to be our representative? Now on top of that, you were appointed to that position. That is what the situation is. If we cannot be upset about that, if you're going to invalidate that, then you're not doing your job. I'm sorry, but come on. This is about numbers.
Right, and the
You're making
numbers
it
were
about
there.
emotions, and it's about numbers. The fact of the matter is you were presented with 221 signatures, registered or not, of people who live in Valverde asking you to recall Greg. Now, if you want to go by just the people who are registered alone, that's over 100 people. That's what I'm saying, forget the recall. Don't make him the vice president, ask him to leave the board. Because it doesn't matter how many people are here, you are presented with signatures. Those are valid signatures of people from Valverde. You already know how many were registered. You can't get more valid than that. What does it have to take for you guys to listen to Valverde?